I was not tried for contempt of Congress today. That's not what the trial was about. If any of you sat in the trial, you saw the opening argument. You saw the opening argument of John Crabb, the attorney for the prosecution. He didn't argue. He didn't argue the case on contempt. He said that I was responsible for the J6 insurrection, which is totally without fact. Without fact.
So you probably noticed the protesters behind him holding up signs. There's some pro-Trump protesters, a lot of anti-Trump protesters. And some of the protesters have been trolling Peter Navarro during his press conferences. So let's watch this next video.
Here we are with one of the most important constitutional separation of powers issues, and people will not let me speak.
This is my First Amendment right. This
is what I'm going to do now is allow.
There's cameras here. The marshals just saw you. The marshals just saw you. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. You just assaulted me. That man just assaulted me. He stuck a flagpole in between my legs.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
So she's not the only one, because Peter Navarro's been doing press conferences throughout the trial, and there's always been protesters behind him trying to distract him from what he's saying, and it's been exceptionally effective. Maz, what do you make of all of this?
Oh God, I mean, Peter Navarro's a clown. These guys make my job as a comedian easy because you just show the clips. I mean, those protesters are hilarious. One of them was behind him the other day, and every time he spoke, they keep blowing a whistle. That was so funny. I mean, people got to look it up. It's so fun and funny. First of all, going back to Trump's post on Truth Social, they used to say that Trump is Q, and when you read that post, he clearly is Q. He has become Q because that one post that he posted had like 3 or 4 conspiracy ideas all rolled up into one thing, and he is now speaking to his crazy. Because if you're on Truth Social, you've drank the Kool-Aid. And so they're reading that and going like, oh yeah, the January 6th committee destroyed the evidence, and then the unselect committee and Nancy Pelosi would have had 10,000 soldiers, and she said, I mean, it's all wacky stuff. So that's him. Peter Navarro is, listen, I think I once got a ticket for jaywalking, and the process for me to go and then have to pay the ticket and stuff was like a month or 2, wasn't much more. Navarro defied this subpoena to go speak in front of Congress. It's been, so January 6th committee was at least a year ago, maybe even more. And as you pointed out, Steve Bannon as well. And I don't know what takes so long to get these guys and have them serve their time. You did a crime, you should serve the time. If you really are a law and order person, if you're a Republican who believes in law and order, you know what? I committed a crime, I'll do the time. That's the thing, is not one of these people who are involved with this conspiracy to overthrow democracy have admitted guilt. Not one of them has come through and been like, you know what? I messed up. I got caught up in this guy's crazy cuckoo ideas with him and Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell and John Eastman. All the crazies got together and they came up with a crazy idea, and it sounded good on that day. But you know what? I was wrong. I'm an American. I believe in America. I believe in law and order. I believe in democracy, and therefore I will admit my guilt. They haven't. Mark Meadows, this guy Navarro, all the other 19 co-defendants, all of these people continue to claim that they did everything by the book. It was just freedom of speech. I was just talking. Navarro, it was executive privilege. No, it wasn't. It wasn't executive privilege. And as you said, he could have gone and sat there in front of the January 6th committee and just either given vague answers or given no answers, like some of these people did, and moved on with his life. And by the way, if you're not guilty, you show up and you testify and you tell them everything that happened and you tell them the truth. If I did not commit a crime, if I'm really so proud of the fact that that day I was practicing my right as an American to question the election, everything was by the book, I would show up in front of the January 6th committee. I'd be like, yes, Trump told me to call the electors and tell them to be ready in case we win the court case. Yes, Trump told me to call the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and get them ready just in case. But it was all legal. It was all legal. So they claim they didn't do anything illegal, and then they don't want to talk about it. So which one is it? Was it legal or illegal? You tell me. You tell me, Peter Navarro, with your slick back hair. You're really stupid for a guy who's supposed to be Dr. Navarro, Dr. Seuss.
I did love that his attorney referred to him as Dr. Navarro every time, obviously trying to be like, oh, come on, this guy's Dr. Navarro. He could never have committed a crime knowingly. He's too smart. He's Dr. Navarro.
Yeah.
Also say for any protesters in the future, if you ever want to make sure that these people's press conferences can't be reposted on social media or even played on some news, loudly bring speakers and play copyrighted music, because that's one surefire way to make sure that their words are not republished and you don't let them, get to spin the narrative in terms more favorable to themselves.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.